Hi there. Welcome back. U.S. law forbids public officials from accepting donations from foreign countries for fear they could buy influence. However, no such law would stop donors from giving money to an associated charity. That'd be awful. So what does Hillary Clinton's workaround at the Clinton Foundation mean for the election and beyond? Let's ask Fox News national security analyst KT McFarland. So as this whole story unfolds and various news organizations connect the dots, from the New York Times to the AP, we are seeing so much crossover between the Clinton Foundation and Hillary Clinton's time as Secretary of State. And it's pretty alarming, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not just a coincidence, as some of the mainstream media would have you believe of, oh, well, it just happened that way. It was just an accident. Or others who would excuse them by saying, well, they were doing good, so I guess it doesn't really matter. It's like the end justifies the means. I look at it and say, this is a very dangerous precedent to set, because we have very good rules and regulations, as you just pointed out, against foreign money going into American political campaigns. Because we don't want to have influence American national security to go to the highest bidder. Now, the Clinton Foundation has said several things. They said, one, it's a problem, but it isn't our problem. We don't do that sort of thing. The second thing they said is if she becomes president, we'll shut it down. I mean, we'll take the Clinton family off.
Okay, but if it's a charity, and I point this out at the top of the show, if it's a charity and you're doing such great work, and as James Carville dramatically said, people are going to die if they shut this foundation down and they leave their 6,000 donors out in the cold, then why on earth would you shut it down just because she's president?
Or maybe what they're doing is to say, get your bid in now.
Exactly
because it's a limited time offer to put your money down to buy influence for the next president. Look, if it was really an above-board thing, they should take the Clintons off of it, turn it over to somebody else, turn it over to the American Red Cross, whatever good deeds are being done. Because the confluence of money going in one hand and decisions and access and influence going out at the other is a very dangerous precedent to set.
It absolutely is. And you're right, because this limited amount of time before, she's conceivably elected, it's really a free-for-all. It's a last chance summer dance for people to get those multi-million-dollar donations in, so they get to the head of the line, and the Clintons know that they bought favor. Therefore, they get access possibly to the President of the United States.
Yeah, and here's what bothers me about it, is when Secretary Clinton, before she became Secretary of State, she was a U.S. Senator from New York. She left the White House as First Lady, went to the Senate. That's when they set up the Clinton Foundation. And then she became Secretary of State. Before she even became Secretary of State, they set this private email server up. Why? I think it was a plan from the very beginning. What was she trying to hide? She knew it was going to cause problems down the road, that she had private emails and would she delete them or not delete them. I think it was a scam from the very beginning to have a private email server so that what was going on between the Clinton Foundation and the State Department would never be seen by prying eyes.
Well, and speaking of prying eyes, the AP, when they looked at these private meetings that the Secretary had her first 2 years as she was Secretary, they looked at all of the private individuals who came and met with her, and they did cross-referencing. And people are saying, well, the AP is conservative, they've got a vendetta against her, and, it's just politically convenient for them to do all of this just, a few months before the election. However, they put this request in 3 years ago for those calendars where they got this information. 3 years ago. They were shut down. They had to sue the State Department in order to get access to it.
Yeah, I mean, look, at the bottom of the day, or at the end of the day, I look at this and say, where's the moral outrage? Do we just look at this and say, oh, well, it's fine, it's okay, they were actually doing good deeds, so we're not going to have any problem here. To me, it's a summer of lies in Washington, whether it's, we didn't pay ransom for those hostages, whether I gave you all the emails, whether, oh, it wasn't a pay-to-play scheme. The average American looks at that and says, huh? I see what I see, and it looks to me like all of those things are lies.
And
summer of lies.
They also know that if they had that kind of money, and if they had given it to the foundation, they would have had FaceTime with Secretary Clinton. They know that, and most people know she's not fighting for us.
No,
these are, rich people are moving their money over to her and foreign governments, and therefore she is giving them the ultimate gift, which is access to power.
Well, it's even more than that, though. I mean, it's not just access, it's not just the photo op in the Secretary of State's office. It's, for example, people who sat on the board of a Russian company donated to the Clinton Foundation, and then when they went to try to get U.S. uranium into Russian hands, into the hands of that company, 20%.
She was the last to sign off on it. Yes, exactly.
So that endangers
McFarland.
security.
Yeah, and Lord knows what happened in Skolkovo. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Always appreciate
It's
talking.
great to be with you. Thank you.
Craziness abounds.